Sarah, thank you for joining our YouTube videos, and we're talking about Race4Rene, but we're also talking about one of the beneficiaries of Race4Rene, and that's Child Bereavement UK. It's an awful thing to have to admit that we need a charity about child bereavement, but it's not an uncommon thing and a huge impact on families when it does happen. So tell us a little bit about CB UK, the work that you do, and why it's so important.
I think, Richard, what we would like to say first of all is thank you to Renee, Sophia and all of Renee's friends and family for supporting Child Bereavement UK and Papyrus in this venture. It's wonderful that they are thinking of us and want to help support our work. So a little bit about Child Bereavement UK. We're actually 25 years old this year, and we're really pleased that this year we've trained 100,000 professionals in bereavement awareness. So what we do at Child Bereavement UK, we support families who have been bereaved of a child of any age, and we educate professionals in bereavement awareness, and we also support children who have been bereaved.
Okay, so bereaved for any reason?
Yes. And we also support families who in sort of pre-bereavement, so maybe they have a child who isn't expected to live, so we would support them and the children within the family as well.
What kind of things do you do to support someone? It seems an incredibly difficult position to find yourself in as a parent or as a child. What can you possibly do to help and support? What kind of services are there?
So initially what we would say is there's an awful lot of advice and information on our website, which often is the first port of call for people who have been bereaved or professionals who want to find out more around awareness around bereavement. We offer face-to-face sessions. In the past year we've had about 3,000 face-to-face sessions with families who have been bereaved. We also have a national helpline which is open from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and the phones are answered by trained bereavement support practitioners who are able to give that first advice, guidance and information out to be it a professional contacting us wanting information or a bereaved family contacting us as well.
And this affects a lot of families every year, doesn't it? It's not an uncommon...
It does. Being bereaved is something that we will all experience. Being bereaved of a child is very much out of what we would consider the natural order of things, and so the loss of the child can be very traumatic, particularly in regards to a child who's taken their life by suicide.
So looking at Max and Sophia, who very kindly allowed us to talk about their own particular experience, what sort of things have you been able to do to help and support them as parents?
So Max and Sophia have had some face-to-face sessions with a bereavement support practitioner in our West London office, and so they're able to go on a regular basis and talk to a practitioner about grief, about their own bereavement, talk about Renee, be given support, advice and guidance about how to manage their feelings, what to expect, but a safe space, a safe confidential space for them to talk through what happened and their bereavement and grief around Renee.
And how has that benefited them? What can they expect to help? Because you imagine it's something you're never going to get over. It's going to live with you the rest of your life. You're going to be experiencing those emotions. How can you help someone deal with that?
So what we say is that we're there for as long as someone needs help and support.
Sure.
And sometimes it might be that some help and support is needed immediately and then not for a while. I think if we talk about bereaved children, sometimes when children are young, they need someone to talk to about what's happened, but then as they grow, they might need a different sort of environment in where to talk about how they're thinking, how they're feeling, how to help remember someone as well, which is really important. So Child Bereavement UK will be there for as long as any person or a couple or a child need us to be there for.
And so Race4Rene, there must be easier ways to raise money and raise awareness than sail across the Atlantic. What an amazing challenge.
What an amazing challenge. And I think, meeting today Renee's friends as well, who are going to be crewing and doing it. I mean, how incredible is that? And I think they are incredible for doing this in memory of Renee.
And the biggest message in talking to them that's coming across is the importance to raise awareness and having a dialogue and it being okay to talk about these things.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this week being Mental Health Awareness Week as well, it certainly pulls into the forefront of people's minds about mental health and being able to use words to talk about things, to not sort of hide away, to be able to talk about suicide without it being a taboo subject. And that's really, really important. And as well, sort of looking at the support that goes into schools to train and educate staff to be able to support children, but also educate children in to be able to talk about their own well-being and mental health is, again, so important.
People perceive it as a taboo, but that taboo doesn't really exist amongst a lot of generations, perhaps some older generations, but the younger generation are much more open and free thinking and more willing to talk about these things. Do you find there's a sort of a generation divide?
Sometimes, maybe, but I think sometimes it's people don't quite know what to say and are worried about saying the wrong thing. And at Child Bereavement UK, what we would say is actually saying something is really important. So just acknowledging someone's bereavement, even if it's, if someone's come back to work after a period off work because they've been bereaved, to actually be acknowledged, we're very sorry to hear that whoever it was has died. We're glad to see you back at work, and if you want to talk to us, or we want to talk to someone at work, then we can identify someone who maybe you can talk to. But I think that's where Child Bereavement UK can be very useful, because we do provide training to employers about how to manage bereavement in the workplace, so they can do their duty of care to their employees when they have had a bereavement or grieving.
Do you find there's a shift in employers now? They're more willing to get involved in these kind of activities to provide that kind of help? Because mental health, it's not just about individuals, but it's about companies and employers and organisations being more tuned into the subject and doing more for their employees or people who work with them. Yes,
and we've been asked at Child Bereavement UK to go into various work environments. Employers have invited us in to do some bereavement awareness sessions with their staff for support of staff within that organisation, but also if they're an outward-facing organisation, for example, a bank who are dealing with the public, or if they work in the public in different ways, so that they can have an understanding and be educated about maybe what to say or advice to be given or signposting to help and support.
So as an organisation, Child Bereavement UK, it must cost a bit of money to set up and organise, and you're always doing fundraising activities. Tell us a little bit about what's needed to keep CBUK in business, as it were, and able to continue to provide these such valuable services.
Well, we don't get any statutory funding, so all of our services are we're able to provide our services through donations, through sort of corporate partnerships, through individual fundraising, from the likes of Max and Sophia with this Race4Rene. So it's really, really important that that we do, but people do support as much as they can in any way they can to enable us to deliver the services that we do, but also to reach out and plug the gaps that we know are there. We know that there are, across the country, there are gaps in bereavement services, and in order to meet need, we need to grow and develop too. And whilst we do offer outreach from some of our office spaces, we know there's lots of people out there who would benefit from the support Child Bereavement UK who don't have it.
And if there's somebody who's watching or who is either dealing with these kind of issues or knows somebody who is, I mean, how can they get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch? Through the website, you say?
So we have a website which has got lots of information and advice and guidance. It's also got details of our national helpline, which again is open from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday.
Okay.
We also have a live chat once a day, so some people may find it difficult to have a direct conversation with someone, so to be able to do a live chat online may help a number of people. We provide group work for young people, we provide group work for families and for children, as I said, in sort of face-to-face bereavement support as well as awareness training. So if we do have professionals who want to find out more about what we can offer, then our website and our training team would be able to help support maybe building a bespoke package of training for a particular organisation, or we've got a whole schedule of sort of scheduled training around the subject of bereavement as well, which we deliver to colleague professionals. But I think if anyone wanted to get in touch with us, our national helpline and our website would be the first port of call.
So thinking a little bit broader, people who are dealing with these issues, they say, what message do you have for them, particularly if they're dealing with suicidal thoughts themselves, or they know someone who has taken their life, or they're impacted in some way from that? What message do you have for those people who might be watching this video?
That they're really not alone. There are people out there who will listen, organisations like Child Bereavement UK and Papyrus. Please reach out and talk to someone. Don't keep the feelings to yourself. Reach out, talk to friends, family, contact ourselves, contact any other organisations. But really, that there is hope, and you're not alone, and an opportunity to be able to talk through with someone in a confidential space about how you're feeling really is so important.
Sarah, thank you very much for joining our video. Thank you.
Thank you.